Hey guys, it's Paradise, and just wait until you see all of these new monsters that were just revealed. The new 4th trailer for Monster Hunter Wilds has just unveiled way more than we expected, with several new monsters, new areas, the release date you've all been waiting for, and much more. So after spending hours going through the trailer scene by scene and collecting all of the information out there, we have so much to share with you guys. The release date is finally here, so get ready to book in your time off work and tell your friends not to contact you for a couple of weeks on February 28th of 2025. It is a little sooner than we were expecting, as March was our rough idea when we thought it would land, so we're really happy about that. It's launching across PlayStation 5, Xbox, and Steam, and they're launching at the same time, and will have access to cross-play this time across all platforms, so you can finally play with friends no matter where you buy the game. Drop a like below if you enjoy our detailed updates and breakdowns that we make for you guys, and let's get into it with one of the biggest reveals, the actual flagship for Wilds, the White Wraith as it's commonly known amongst the Commission, or its true name Arkveld, which if you add just a couple more letters to, you can see what you get. Anyway, this monster is looking absolutely incredible and has stolen the show for me as my new most hyped monster to fight in Wilds. With Wilds being even more expansive and open than any other Monster Hunter game before, we can expect even bigger and badder monsters, which if we look back to Monster Hunter World and Rise, we had world-threatening monsters like Xeno'jiiva or Geismagorm, so we can expect even more threatening things than Arkveld. Another cool thing to see for Arkveld is this additional image that we saw from the Xbox store, which really shows off the chains attached to it, possibly suggesting it was sealed away or is being controlled by perhaps an even bigger monster. It's officially described as having unique chain-like appendages extending from its wings, which look like they were attached to Arkveld, and it's evolved around them to utilize them and attack with them. After doing some research, we can confirm some information about our new flagship's ecology. It's a species long thought to be extinct from the world, and it's shrouded in mystery. Its body can glow with bluey-purple effects, suggesting thunder, dragon blight, or maybe some entirely new status effect that it can attack with, which may translate to the weapons that we can craft after beating it. Some people are even speculating that this glow may be a unique ability to absorb the monster's elements, so perhaps it can absorb the elements of the apex monsters in each region to power up. But I also want to point out this early concept art for Zinogre, which does look pretty similar to Arkveld. Or perhaps this frontier monster was an inspiration for its design too, with those appendages. But Kevin on Twitter also pointed out this monster, Morudamuntu, I think that's how you say it, from Monster Hunter Explore, and it does look quite similar to this as well. If you actually look at the armor set for this monster, it looks so amazing, so perhaps we can expect something similar to this from the White Wraith's armor set. We also got the official details on how the story begins in the game and how it's tied in with Arkveld, as the website goes into detail on this, saying the fate of a people and nature intertwined. At its center, a boy named Natta and the mysterious White Wraith. Several years ago, a boy named Natta was discovered near the border of the Forbidden Lands, an uncharted region believed by the guild to be completely uninhabited. Natta recounts how his village was attacked by a mysterious monster, and in response, the guild has organized an expedition to investigate. The hunter is assigned to one of the units, tasked with investigating the White Wraith and rescuing Natta's people known as the Keepers. So we can be certain that the Keepers have something to do with Arkveld, perhaps they're the ones who chained it away, and remember Wilds is set to have a more fleshed out and bigger focus on the story, so I'm hoping they go really hard on the spectacle of it. But for now, we know for sure why we're going to the Forbidden Lands to uncover the secret mysteries behind the Keepers and the White Wraith. If you look at the trailer, it hints through these flashbacks that Arkveld attacked Natta's village, and now they, the Keepers, need rescuing by the guild. On top of this, we got 2 whole new monsters revealed, and I don't think a Wild Hearts style Dreadclaw Chicken Brute Wyvern was on anyone's bingo card for this trailer, but we love it. This is the Quematrice, a literal fire chicken monster with a massive tail. They spread a flammable substance, then ignite it by dragging their tail along the ground to spark flames. Interestingly, quema in Spanish means fire or burning, and trice comes from a Latin word meaning to strike, so think of its name meaning something similar to fire strike. This monster can often be seen fighting other small carnivores over carrion, and honestly, I love that we have a Blaziken-style monster now. It's also listed on the website and shown in the trailer as a monster found in the Windward Plains. Even though no one has seen it in this area in the demos, it is expected to be encountered in this area. Furthermore, do you remember the armor set we got to see in the reveal for the bow weapons trailer? This set is looking very much like it comes from the Quematrice, both from the visuals and color of the scales in the design of the armor. It's pretty cool that we can tick off another armor set as to what monster it comes from. We also got another surprise with a new Leviathan monster that looks absolutely incredible. The trailer doesn't even do it justice because look at the colors of this guy in the splash art. It's giving me Namiel vibes, and this one is called Duna. This is actually the Scarlet Forest's apex predator, and it's usually spotted during the downpour weather event, which is similar to Raidao coming out in a sand tide. Remember, each region has an apex monster that usually appears during that region's inclemency period, and this also confirms the inclemency for the Scarlet Forest is a downpour of heavy rain. This has allowed Duna to adapt to the water-rich environment, and when fighting, you need to look out for its protective veil that it creates using the moisture and fluids on its body, which will no doubt be an interesting mechanic to play around. I also like the flow that we're likely going to be hunting down Raidao in the first area where we start, and then as we progress through the game, we'll get to the Scarlet Forest and start hunting down this water monster with the thunder weapons that we farmed from Raidao. Another thing to note is that this type of Leviathan monster being in the game definitely gives us hope of other water-themed monsters making it in, like Namiel or everyone's beloved Laggy, which might make a return in Wilds, so keep your fingers crossed if you want to fight them in this new game. I think there is a possibility.
Nice.
We also got a pretty good look at the Scarlet Forest during the Plenty period, which happens after the storm breaks. The sun will begin to shine through the trees, making way for bright blue skies and water as the plants and creatures change. We can see massive bones decorating the area, and even ancient civilization structures, really adding to the mystery and world building of this zone. There's even wedge beetles scattered around for traversal, which is always appreciated, and some interesting new small monsters, such as these little flyers and even these scarier looking fish during the downpour that remind us of monsters in previous games. But next I want to talk about when we can expect to have a playable demo for Wilds. You see, Monster Hunter World had a playable demo in late December of 2017, and then again in mid-January of 2018, before its late January release in 2018. Since Capcom usually aims to follow the same marketing timelines, just like how they've revealed the flagship now around TGS, just like they did in the past, showing Nergigante for World around TGS, we can make a reasonable guess that a demo should be playable for Wilds in January of 2025, or early to mid-February before its release. So if you're eager to play and you didn't go to any of the events where it had a demo like Gamescom, it may just be a few months away if we keep patient. We also have the names and details of 2 new major story characters, and we know that the guild has formed several units, which each consist of 3 people and 1 animal, a hunter, a handler, a smithy, and a palico. There's the Avis unit, which is where we, the protagonist, will belong, and the Astrum unit, which is where Olivia and the others belong. Some are speculating that there might be a difference in opinion on how these units want to handle their mission, which could lead to some conflict and tension between our character's Avis unit and the Astrum unit. But the new characters are Arekkz, which is Astrum unit's handler. This is a skillful biologist renowned throughout academia, and then there's Werner, the Astrum unit's smithy, a physics and engineering specialist with a leading mind in weapon technology. So we can expect to spend plenty of time interacting with these 2 between hunts. Another awesome thing we finally got to see in a bit more detail is the fishing, and we can use different types of lures to reel in different species of fish, and the website even says you can try your hand at some big game fishing. I've always loved the fishing in Monster Hunter, especially in World, to grab those rare fish like the living fossil and display it in your house. It looks like the fishing has been improved, and it would be really cool if there was some kind of competitive minigame where hunters could get together and compete to catch the biggest fish, kind of like how we have the arm wrestling minigame. It would just be cool to have some kind of social minigame aspect to the fishing. But there's still more. We have the Wudwuds, which are these little guys that we saw briefly in the trailer, and I love how silly they are. These are a Lynian tribe called Wudwuds, and they inhabit the Scarlet Forest. They're tucked away deep in the forest, which is where their hideout is found, and that's where they basically live. They're very similar to the Grimalkins of the past games, and they will no doubt have some cool interactions with us and maybe whole new mechanics to help us out. Remember, the Grimalkins gave us Palico equipment previously, so I believe we'll have something similar from the Wudwuds, and in the trailer we did see the Vigor Wasp delivery save the hunter, so they're probably going to give us new Palico equipment. But we did get to see some new weapons in the trailer too. We got to see the Lala Barina Lance, the Balahara Sword and Shield, the Chatakabra Hammer, the Quematrice Dual Blades, a Balahara Hunting Horn, and the Rathalos Greatsword. We also got to see a basic looking charge blade in this Vigor Wasp scene, and there's even this short scene here with 3 hunters riding below, with what looks like the Plague Doctor armor set on the bottom left character, but it's very hard to see what weapon it has, as well as just all of them in general because they're so small. But do you guys have any guesses on what these guys are wearing? As we have the release date, the game is now available to pre-order, which means we have details on the various editions of the game and the pre-order bonuses. There's currently no collector's edition available in the West, but I do expect we'll get one at some point. There's even this insane Japanese collector's edition which comes with a Monster Hunter bicycle, and someone tell me how I can get this delivered to the UK. Looking at the World and Iceborne collector's edition, we had a Nergigante and Velkhana figure, while for Rise and Sunbreak we had the flagships as amiibos. So I really expect when or if we do get a collector's edition, it's going to have an Arkveld figure, which will be an instant pre-order for me if that does come true. We do know what the pre-order bonuses are though, and this includes the Guild Layered Armor set, which I personally love the hat of, and you get the Hope Charm, which might be good for a couple of hunts early on, but these pre-order charms are never good in the long term anyway. For the various editions, we have the Standard, which is the base game, the Deluxe, which includes the Deluxe Pack, granting you a variety of layered armor options, new hairstyles, accessories, some gestures, face paints, a pendant which confirms they are back, 2 sticker sets, and a nameplate. Honestly, I love that we have these sacred decorations, which confirms there is some layered customization for our sacred, and I cannot wait to see what collabs we will get for them. I do think the hairstyles and the demon horns are no doubt going to be very popular and will probably sway some people to upgrading to the deluxe edition. But on top of that, we have the premium deluxe edition, which includes all of the previous stuff and 2 additional cosmetic DLC packs that release in spring and summer of 2025, and it says they're packed with cosmetics like layered armor and pendants. Personally, I think the deluxe pack is looking the most appealing, but do note there's also a PlayStation Store exclusive pre-order bonus to get a mini digital art book, which from these few slides is actually looking pretty cool. With this, we also finally have the Steam minimum and recommended requirements for your PC, and you can see the minimum requirements here, but I want to focus on the recommended as this is really where you want to be for better graphics and better FPS. Now there is a worry here. We know that Capcom games don't have the best track record of good and strong performance on PC releases when it comes to their games like World or recently Dragon's Dogma 2. These recommended specs are for playing at 1080p on medium settings and 60 FPS. But note that it says frame generation is mandatory in order to reach that 60 FPS, which is of course where you want to be. Frame generation is a feature of DLSS 3 that effectively increases your frame rate and performance by up to double, but this requires a 40 series Nvidia card like the 4060 that's listed here. Remember again, this is with medium settings and 1080p resolution, so I'm really hoping this won't be a performance disaster for PC at launch if you don't have a beastie PC. But essentially, if you don't have a 40 series card and Wilds is a must-play game for you on PC, then you're going to need to start to think of upgrading, and overall, I'm a bit worried about the performance. But there are still very exciting times ahead, as TGS is kicking off with the Capcom Online program tomorrow at 3 PM BST, which we will be streaming if you want to join us live. We are very likely to see more of Arkveld in action, as just like with World, we got to see more of Nergigante in action after his reveal. So we'll probably get a deeper dive into the Scarlet Forest and the White Wraith this time around. There's even more happening over the weekend, so if you want to keep up to date on all things Monster Hunter, make sure you drop a like and you'll subscribe down below. And you know we're going to have more videos coming for you very, very soon.